just 2 days away from joint practice and a joint scrimmage with the LA Rams, and the Cowboys are itching to finally put some work on somebody else, right, other than themselves. Welcome back into Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Kyle Youmans, and it feels good to be back with my dog.
Oh, I know. It's been quite some time. Finally back together, finally get an opportunity to break down some Cowboys film together, too.
For sure. Good to be back with you, but also good to see Trevon Diggs back in the fold. He was back in pads on Monday and got a chance to see, kind of get a gauge of where he is right now as far as his movement-wise. What did you like from him so far in practice? He only participated really in 7 drills.
See, that's one of the things I liked, though, is the fact that not only was he in pads, which is a step in the right direction, but he was competing in the combo drills where it was offense versus defense. No, there wasn't any offensive line or defensive line in the drill. It was all 7-on-7. However, he did go up against live reps from guys like Jalen Brooks, Jalen Tolbert, David Durden. There were a number of guys that he went up against, and though he wasn't necessarily full speed, he went through the rep almost full speed and then let off the gas. He didn't finish those reps because he's still trying to ease back in to full game reps. He did have one PBU on David Durden over the middle. Durden ran a slant, and Diggs was in his hip pocket all the way through, reached around, knocked the football down. It was a good rep all the way through, and every time I saw him get better in that rep, he wanted to stay out there. There was even one time where he jogged back out off of the sideline after being subbed out. When the first team was called upon again, he was on his way out, and the coaches said, let's get you back inside, get you back on the sideline, because they were trying to limit his reps because he needs to be ready whenever it matters most.
I know the coaches were kind of, like you mentioned, limiting his reps, but I kind of noticed the fact that he had some hesitation with his movement as far as horizontally. His vertical movement was really well. That's hence why that he got that PBU. But did you sense some of that as well?
I don't know if it was a hesitation. It may have been more just a cautionary side of things. He doesn't want that change of direction immediately because he doesn't have to have it. So when he was backpedaling, he had his eyes in the right spot. He was able to keep hands on guys if they came close enough. But then once they went inside or outside or however ended up going, he did kind of take his foot off the gas. So I think if anything, less of a hesitation, more of a precaution to make sure that he is ready to go, because like I said, it's just practice number 1. They've got about a month until they're playing the Cleveland Browns. They've got a long time until he needs to be ready. Let's make sure he is ready for that moment.
Now, realistically, is there a timetable that you can expect to see Trevon Diggs fully back in the fold?
I think it'll be right around that time.
Gotcha.
I think so. I think you'll see him maybe mix in for combo drills one day, maybe the next day he's out. There's back and forth times for that. But when he's ready to go 100%, he'll be out on the field and playing in games. That won't be in the preseason, not because of the injury, but because Mike McCarthy doesn't necessarily play his starters in the preseason because of that same precaution. Now you move on to the regular season time, and I think going into the regular season, he'll be ready to go.
Trevon Diggs looking to cook up something special in 2024, but someone's already cooking things up here in Oxnard, California. How about Mike Zimmer chefing things up defensively? That's up next in our next break.
I think Trevon is clearly one of the most competitive players, practice players, game day players that I've been around. And when he crosses the white lines and it's time to compete, he's all in.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
We're back here with more Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford and brought to you by Sleep Number. Nicole Hutchison, Isaiah Stanback, Kyle Youmans, and there were so many concerns about how Mike Zimmer's defense would differentiate from DQs, right, and how it would improve a defense that was already at the top of the league. What have you seen so far through camp that he has done differently?
Yeah, in terms of the comparison, I think Dan Quinn brought an element of kind of juice in the sense that he really relied and leaned heavily upon the actual attributes of each player, right? So if you're a smaller, faster guy, he's going to try to isolate you on the outside and have you run past a tackle, or, line Micah Parsons up against, man-to-man against the center. So really just heavily relying upon the athleticism of each individual player. Now with Zimmer, what you're starting to see now is he really is scheme-oriented. So guys really have to understand exactly what is my role in this particular play. Sometimes I'm going to be the man that's expected to go make the play. Other times, me doing my job frees up somebody else. He does a really good job, I think, and even from the time I used to play against him back in the day, of really just kind of disguising what he's doing. A lot of the things he does looks the same, but he'll bring two guys sometimes, the linebackers in the A-gap. Sometimes he'll bring one. Sometimes he'll bring a lot of zone blitz. So it really makes things difficult for opposing offenses being able to tell exactly what exactly am I seeing.
Now, of course, every time that there's a scheme change, it's going to challenge certain players, but it's also going to benefit other players. Who benefits most out of Mike Zimmer's scheme change and what he's bringing to the table in 2024?
It has to be the secondary. I believe that the secondary in its totality is going to be the beneficiaries of this scheme change, simply because a lot of things are going to kind of come to them. I think in a Dan Quinn style of play, those guys are expected to go out there, put hands on receivers, and really go out there and force the issue and go out there and be aggressive. Now they're really going to, with this zone blitz, things are going to fall into their lap. Opposing offenses are going to be trying to figure out exactly where's the pressure coming from. I have to get the ball out now. Safeties are going to be rolling down, going right into getting easy interception. Cornerbacks are going to be sitting in zone and kind of trap zone type schemes. And I think they're going to get a lot of turnovers in that regard just by balls coming to them.
And who do you feel like is going to challenge the most?
I think it's going to challenge the opposing offenses. Honestly, I mean, obviously the linebackers are going to be very active. They have a lot of responsibilities in this offense, in this defense. These guys are going to be asked to not only just play coverage, but they're also going to be asked to take on offensive linemen. They're going to be asked to shoot the gap and go out there and be the blitzers of this defense and bring the pressure. So I think in its entirety, that group probably has the most responsibility.
We'll get a chance to see how this Zimmer defense challenges an offense on Thursday with the joint practice and scrimmage against the LA Rams, and on Sunday live game action, the first preseason game with the LA Rams. That kickoff is at 3 p.m. But we got more here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp. How about that running back depth? That's more up next.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
We're here to wrap things up on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford. Nicole Hutchison, Kyle Youmans. Now, Kyle, obviously the talk of training camp heading into this offseason, this training camp, it's been the running back room, right? And there's 8 guys in this room. But I've got to ask you, if you're playing chess with the depth chart right now,
okay,
who are you going with? Because the Cowboys historically have only had 3 to 4 running backs on their roster.
I think it's likely we'll see 3 running backs, and then Hunter Lipke will probably be the 4th on that depth chart. But right now it's 8 bodies fighting for those 3 spots, and right now it's Ezekiel Elliott who gets the majority of the first-team reps, kind of mixes those back and forth with Rico Dowdle. That 3rd spot's completely up for grabs. I like some of the things I've seen from Royce Freeman, a veteran in the league. Of course, he brings a playmaker ability, a short yardage ability. But do you already have that with Zeke? If you have something like that with Zeke, do you want to change up in that regard? Snoop Connor might be a little bit more shifty, a little bit more elusive. Can he have that backdoor cut? He had one in practice on Monday that was really impressive, that opened things up to the sideline, and he was able to win the race to the sideline as well. So really like some of the things that I've seen from guys like Snoop Connor in the later parts of the depth chart. I think right now there's a lock with guys like Hunter Lipke, Ezekiel Elliott, and then you add in Rico Dowdle as well. It's that 3rd spot that's up for grabs. I'm taking 4 guys going into the season, though.
I'm not going to lie. You didn't even mention Malik Davis. I mean, we got to shout him out.
Sure.
He's been explosive through camp. He's running with the 2s, kind of getting some reps in with the 1s. What have you liked so far from him, though?
I like the ability to find and read the hole. He's done that quite a few times. The only thing with Malik is that they know what he is. He's been around for quite some time, and at some point that isn't necessarily a good thing. They're going to have to make some decisions on Malik Davis moving forward.
For sure, and this running back room will finally have a defensive line to go up against in the LA Rams. That practice is Thursday. Make sure to watch DallasCowboys.com. We will have all your coverage, but we will be back tomorrow with more Inside Cowboys Training Camp.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.